Good late afternoon. We are back with class in session where I am sometimes the professor, but always the student. And we have Dr. Sarita Stevens again to
Hello.
explain aspects of education to us, but we are joined with the incomparable Kevin Grimes, who will be guiding the conversation and making sure I don't do anything unintelligent. So, Dr. Stevens, can you please start us off? What aspect of education are you going to be?
So, we always start out with the theme of child development, and most of our framework will deal with the interruption of the development of Black males, and what it means psychosocial, and also today we're going to talk about how there's interruption to the cognitive development. Because the human development scale, and we use Eric Erickson's human developmental scale, which is true for any human being, to talk about what happens when there's disruption along the human developmental scale, because there are some basic human needs that you got to get through to even get to the need to know. So we talked about last week, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and how the lower level is just, knowing that you're going to be okay. You're going to have food and shelter. The second is that you're going to have a group of people that will accept you and not demean you. The third level is that people will promote your interest, encourage you to learn and to do better. Okay. Now, the last level of Maslow's hierarchy of need is self-actualization, where you have everything in the lower part of the hierarchy that you need, and you can actually blossom as the greatest human being. Like you can literally become the GOAT. And, I'll give you an example. We cannot do this today without talking about the halftime show of the Super Bowl. So here we
Yeah,
go.
get the child development.
So here we go. Okay, on the human scale, right? Um, you can basically say that someone like Kendrick Lamar, who has won a Pulitzer Prize for poetry, has somewhat reached the scale of actualization, because because now he has everybody's attention with his poetry, not just rap. We don't even have to think about rap. We're
Mhm.
thinking about poetry. So
Oh,
he has
I
reached it. He's had the largest audience in the United States. Really, he obtained the largest audience in the United States to cite his poetry. And not only did he do that, he created a symbolic show that it was all through the show was metaphors and similes, and I mean you can name them all. People have been analyzing that video forever all over the world now. It is kind of migrated from Drake, and people are just analyzing what he was saying. Um, Now, in a portion of that, right at the end, you saw Serena Williams, who had won multiple Grand Slams, deciding that she was going to slide back down the hierarchy scale, and be a dancer. She didn't have to do that, but the fact that she's already reached the top of the self-actualization scale, nobody could say that they can do. The next person is being created that did what she was able to do. But yet, at any time, she could slide back down that scale and it's like, I want some acceptance attention. So I'm going to crip walk. I'm gonna be a video girl today and crip walk. But the great part about it is it was her decision to do that. Now,
can
most people would be like, why would you do that?
I,
She's obtained every level of human hierarchy of needs. So now she could choose.
can I ask you a question?
And now, Mr. Huh?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. Self-actualization is the process of realizing your full potential and becoming the best version of yourself. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, this is a young man from Chicago, South Central LA, who has risen to the top of his field. Self-actualization. I got you all day, every day. Serena Williams started from South Central LA, top of her field as a tennis pro. I see the cross gender. We both have come, we started from the bottom.
And now we're here. Oh, wait a
Both
minute.
of
That
us,
was a great song. Okay. I didn't mean
well,
that. No
I
pun
got
intended.
we got to the top, right? And we're celebrating together. A dance that you did at the Olympics and was shamed for. We're showing them our power and how we can, once we hit the top of our level, we can pull in things that are from our roots to
Mhm.
celebrate.
And they were at the point where they can use creative imagery to
Wow,
address very, very serious topics.
I got it. Talking about serious topics because you're functioning at the best version of yourself. And we are using this time to comment on the racial, social, economic depravity and oppression of Black folks. Samuel L. Jackson being Uncle Sam, da 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 da, and all of this other symbolism everybody's seen. And he's talking pretty much about the issues of fairness in
Mhm.
our country and the legacy is where that has been denied. And then he ends the thing with an insult to a Black man. Please tell me what part of that is reaching your full potential and being the best version of yourself when you take time. Now, I'm all about you making the NFL pay for a protest. But at that point, you could have played the song, you could have rapped different parts of the song and just went by it and said, I'm not going to talk about the upliftment of Black people and how we deserve to be recognized for what we've done. And then I'm going to insult another Black man. Please explain that part to me.
Well, you know what? I think that it effectively shifted the focus off of Drake. I know people thought that one song was about Drake, but most of the show was some kind of symbolic presentation of oppression of certain people. Like most of it, so literally nobody really had their minds on Drake. They kind of hated for him. They're like, oh God, we kind of hate that for Drake because we just love his music. But most people started breaking down that video and breaking down the colors, what he was using, like how he divided the red and the blue. At one point, he would stand in the middle, he divided the red and the blue. When Scissor came out, Scissor was in the fertility god triangle, and those women were dressed like the handmaidens. They were had
Mm-hmm.
red on. So it's a lot of like symbolic things. So I don't think it was about him saying
Wasn't
things about a single person. It really was about it was about the things that we should raise our consciousness about. I'm not a Kendrick Lamar fan. I'm not really a Drake fan, but what I'm saying is he wanted to raise the level of consciousness of what is happening to certain groups of people. Now let me tell you, I skipped on the scale. I skipped self-esteem on purpose. So
Mhm.
so we can get back to our topic.
I
I said,
know,
I'll tell you why.
I
Mhm.
know, but the only thing I'm saying is if it wasn't about Drake, why was his ex-girlfriend, Serena, who you brought up, I didn't bring it up, Serena was there, the person who he told not to
Well, do
disrespect.
you know that she was chastised for crip walking when she won a Grand Slam?
She did
So
that.
it could have been a couple of things that she was addressing.
I
Mhm.
know, and I wish she would have been. So if she would have crip walked on a different song, I'd have been with you. But she crip walked this song about the guy who was her ex-boyfriend who had said some things
Here,
about.
here's the question I want to ask you. Why are we
Yes,
focused on one black man when when what we are talking about is a whole nation? We're talking about a whole nation of people. Drake has reached a certain level of self-actualization, so he's going to have to untangle himself from that web, and he's probably going to have to do it with some level of civility. What
I
I'm
can.
talking about is the symbolism of our
Yes. Let me answer
entire
that.
nation of men?
I can answer that question because two things. Number one, I want to qualify myself. I have not watched the Super Bowl since 2016, and I did not watch it this year. Okay. I'm 10 toes down. Okay.
But you should watch it so
Was
you can
good.
have an argument.
Just to have time.
We
Thank you, Mr. Grimes.
we choose our leaders wisely and we choose our leaders with depth. And if you are showing hypocrisy, you can't be my leader. I am telling y'all. And
So,
I'm all
so
about it.
I don't know if he is trying to be a leader or a person that initiates thought exchange. And
Sometimes
Mr. Grimes, feel free to jump in.
I think I think both things can be true. I think there's a dual. I think there's a duality in the whole process, right? One, you talk about a sitting president who's never been. I don't think any president's been to the Super Bowl, right? So that and they knew he was going to be there, right? So there was a time for them to
Right.
express the discontent that the nation is dealing with. If those individuals who were non-melanated, uh, if they could see through that, they would also appreciate it. I think you hit it on. I think we talk about when we talk about Maslow's and we talk about, in this case, Bloom's taxonomy, right? I think there is a way. I think there are many levels of transcendence that's not just linked to one particular aspect of life, right? I think when you reach a level or you get to the top rung of Maslow's, right? That self-actualization. I think a person can self-actualize in a lot of different contexts because they have the ability to think outside themselves, which gives them the ability to make connections and allow people to analyze what's really happening on a lot of different levels.
And he also put the hip hop nation on notice that you don't have to do all of this bang bang shooting up. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to consider women as whores and men as pimps, and everybody's got to shoot everybody to get. You don't have to do the self-destruction.
Right.
So he has actually set another level, which is why I'm saying that even everybody in this can move on from Drake in that song. It's just that everybody likes the melody of that song.
you know where we haven't moved from? Tupac and Biggie.
Hmm.
Well, this is the first
oh,
this is the first step outside of that.
No, it's not. Number one, you engaged in something that is in very recent history of hip hop that ended up with a bunch of rich, non-urban people playing into the East Coast, West Coast stuff. And it ended up in the death of two very young black men. Exactly what you're doing. Now, it was three people involved in it when it started. The only person that had sense said, ho, 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 I'm not doing this. This happened before. A whole bunch of other people are going to get rich. Vibe magazine is going to get rich. The Source is going to get rich. All these award shows are going to get rich. And we're going to be putting out all this stuff about how this, I'm in this camp and I'm in that camp. And then somebody's going to get hurt. Some overzealous fan, nutty.
Well,
person.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen because this is a higher intellectual level of conversation. Like he has literally started. So let me tell you why this can be related to Maslow, and because this is really